Look, I've been analyzing the productivity crime scenes of high-achieving women, and I found one consistent clue. They don't actually have more willpower. They just found the loophole in their dopamine circuit. Think of me as your forensic investigator for the mind. You see, I've spent months deconstructing the case files of burnout and stalled careers, looking for the exact moment where your focus goes cold. What I've discovered is that your ability to concentrate isn't dying of natural causes. It's being murdered. And the primary suspect? Well, it's the very advice you've been told to follow. You've been led to believe that if you can't sit still for a deep work session, it's a personal character flaw, right? You think you need more discipline, more planners, or even more caffeine. But as I've looked closer at the evidence, and I've realized those are just red herrings. The truth is, your brain is actually working exactly how it was designed to. You're just feeding it the wrong signals. High-performing women don't survive on grit alone. I mean, no one can. They've quietly discovered a glitch in the system, a neurochemical shortcut that stops the constant craving for distraction and locks the brain into a state of total immersion. In this investigation, I'm going to show you how to stop fighting your biology and start using this dopamine loophole. I'm talking about a specific shift in your mental framework that allows a grueling 4-hour deep work session to feel like, well, a breezy 20 minutes. By the time we're done, you'll see exactly how the crime of your lost productivity was committed and how to reclaim your focus once and for all. Let's look at the evidence. Let's examine the crime scene of a typical Tuesday morning. You're at your desk, your coffee is still warm, and you have 4 hours of uninterrupted time ahead of you. This is the moment you've been planning for. But 10 minutes in, well, you're staring at a blinking cursor. Your fingers are... If you don't fix this internal circuit, well, you aren't just having a slow day. You are systematically exhausting your brain's command center until it eventually collapses. That's why you feel that bone-deep burnout by mid-afternoon, even if you haven't actually checked a single major item off your to-do list. Your biology is working against you, and right now, the biology is winning. But what if we stop trying to arrest our instincts? What if, instead of fighting our biology, we started, bribing it? To solve this case, we have to look at how we can rewire the reward system itself. And that leads us to a discovery that changes everything. Let's look at the evidence. Most of us have been taught a fundamental lie about how our brains actually function. We've been led to believe that dopamine is the prize at the end of the race, the gold medal feeling you get when you finally cross a major project off your list. But when I sat down to analyze the neurobiology of elite high performers, the data revealed something much more calculated. Dopamine isn't about the pleasure of the win, it's about the electricity of the hunt. Think about it like a detective on a high-stakes case. The real rush isn't just the moment the handcuffs click shut, right? The true hit of adrenaline, the part that keeps me awake at 2 a.m. staring at a wall of evidence, is the moment I find that one inconsistent thread. It's the pursuit. In neurobiology, you see, this is the critical distinction between the kill and the hunt. When you try to power through a 4-hour deep work session by promising yourself a treat at the very end, you are effectively starving your brain. Your prehistoric hunter neurocircuitry gets bored after 30 minutes of seeing no tracks and no... Look, to turn this theory into a high-performance reality, I want you to follow what I call the investigation protocol. Think of this as your field manual for the next 4 hours. We're moving away from vague work and into a structured 3-step operation designed to basically trick your brain into staying on the trail. Step 1, the case file setup. Slightly critical. You see, most people fail because their to-do list is just too broad, which is honestly like trying to solve a crime without any actual evidence. You're going to break your session down into 25-minute sprints. Warning, but here's the catch. You aren't just working. For every single sprint, I want you to write down exactly one tiny clue you need to solve. Don't write finish the presentation. No, write complete the slide for the Q4 budget projections. By making the task a micro problem, you're giving your brain a specific target to hit. When you hit it, you get that small hit of dopamine, and you're immediately ready for the next clue, right? Step 2 is the sensory anchor. I need you to create a crime scene signature. This is a specific scent. Think a certain candle or an essential oil, or a very specific playlist that you only ever use during these deep work sessions. You are essentially priming your neural pathways. When that scent hits your nose, or that first track starts playing, your brain recognizes the pattern. It says, I know this environment. This is where we focus. You're removing the decision fatigue of getting into the zone, because the zone is now a physiological response to your surroundings. Step 3 is where we exploit the loophole, the intermittent reward. This is the secret sauce used by casinos, to keep people locked in for hours. Instead, I spend exactly 5 minutes closing the file. I write down one final clue, the very first thing I need to investigate when I sit down tomorrow, right? By externalizing that last bit of data, I'm giving my subconscious permission to stop scanning for solutions. Firmly, I then physically leave the room where the work happened. This environmental shift signals to my nervous system that the investigation is officially paused. It's how I protect my baseline and ensure I wake up tomorrow with the same hunger I had today. I want you to look at how far you've come in just this one session. You started this video, perhaps feeling like a victim of your own wandering mind, struggling to stay afloat in a sea of notifications. But by applying these deductions, you've transitioned into something much more powerful. You are now an elite investigator of your own psychology. You've learned that focus isn't a gift you're born with. It's a crime scene you learn to manage. When you master the dopamine loophole, work stops being a chore you have to endure, actually. It becomes a mystery you're actually excited to solve. You're no longer fighting against your brain. You're finally working with it, using its own biological quirks to achieve things that most people think are impossible. The case of the missing productivity? Consider it solved. You have the tools, the strategy, and the identity of a high performer. Now, all that's left is to step into the field and execute. If you're ready to stop the willpower struggle and start mastering your own psychology, join our agency of high performers by subscribing to Power of Mindset. I'm looking forward to seeing how you apply these protocols to your own career. Comment